to order. Roll call, I presume that has been taken. Public comment period. Correspondence, anything?
I have a public comment.
Yes.
Since I've become mayor, it's been about 21 months. I've attended most of your meetings, and I have to say we have the best police and fire in the city. We are very spoiled because we get the best of the best for what we have here. I just want to say thank you to all of you, because this does make the city of Marshfield, I feel, one leg up. So thank you, gentlemen. Keep it up, and you know we're here to support you. And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
They'll keep it up. If it's not internal, we're here to be extra. I'm thinking of pressures. Anyway, approval of minutes of the November 16th, 2023 regular meeting. A motion to thank you, Steve. Who would second that? Thank you, Randy. Any changes, corrections, or comments about the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The motion to approve carries. The news updates, and knowing that your voice, if you just want to hit the highlights, would be adequate.
Just note, he gave you some crime stats from Washington. You can see how much their crime has increased. Carjackings have doubled in the first 11 months of the year. Of interest, that includes 2 members of Congress and an FBI agent. On the law enforcement line of duty deaths, the Texas correctional officer suffered a heart attack while attempting to restrain an inmate with his colleagues. And then the most recent one, 2 Nevada Highway Patrol officers that were doing a motorist assist, and they were struck by a drunk driver. And just to note, with the number of incidents involving emergency vehicles being struck on the highway, Stephen Solomon's research about vehicle colors has again resurfaced with some additions from this past study. Solomon is an optometrist and volunteer firefighter in the Buffalo, New York area. He's done extensive study on colors. He is one of the original proponents of the yellow tones on fire apparatus. You can search out his study online. Citizens Help Police, my only comment there is, as usual, the suspects would have fared a lot better if they had not resisted arrest. As usual, the citizens, shall we say, tend to be extremely vigorous in the system of the officers. And some information about reductions in service. Last night, just double-sided, this is about the safety baby boxes at fire stations recently. Governor Heaton signed legislation promoting these or authorizing these in the state. At that point, I'm done. I signed this morning. I think I'm ending verbal discussions.
Thank you, Bill. The next item on our agenda is the approval of police department bills.
Thanks and good morning. In your packet, there's 2 sets of bills, I guess I should say. And the first one was signed by Commissioner Gershman on the 29th of November. And the other one was signed yesterday by Commissioner Keel. The one item of note that I'd like you to consider before approval is on page 6J, which is the packet that we received today. Magnet Forensics There's a bill there for about $6,500. That's a training that our computer analysis, Matt Harris attends. Computer forensics and computers is very complicated and expensive. Just the class, in order for Matt to be able to forensically look at computers and phones for things like child pornography and things of that nature, is right around $4,000. This company is one of the leaders in teaching that sort of thing, and they offer other classes as well. So what we found was a bundle of 3 different classes, all of things that we can use in those types of investigations that he can use throughout the year, and it's an at-home virtual training, so it doesn't cost anything in travel. So rather than spend $4,000 for one training, we decided to do $6,500 for 3, and hopefully have a little bit of a leg up for future computer crime investigations. So I wanted to bring that to your attention because it's a lot of money, but I think it's money well spent. Other than that, I would entertain any questions before your approval.
Motion to approve. Move to approve. Second. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, it is expensive, but I also understand it's important. I don't know what the language is. How much traffic do you have last year, for example, in this area of crime?
Well, really, one case is too much, and it'd be worth that money just to solve one case. I can think of, off the top of my head, we did probably a half-dozen search warrants, so that's where the cases are coming to conclusion. As many, I don't know how many are in the hopper, so to speak, but it's a problem that we need to address.
And what kind, is that business crime? Is that pornography?
Or it's more the child pornography, that sort of crime is probably the most prominent ones. But, we can, to forensically investigate or forensically look at a computer, it can be anything from white collar fraud to child porn.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. I have a motion to approve the police department bills. We do, I think. Don't we? Yeah. Any additional questions or comments about the bill? Hearing none, all in favor. Oops, we're gonna have a roll call, I'll bet you, and I'm not even looking at the agenda. You know what she does, is she puts a little RC in red after the item on the agenda. But I don't have the agenda. You got your red pen with you? Never mind.
I didn't bring my red pen, so.
Oh, all right. We'll get at it.
Gershman.
Yes.
Pinker. Meek.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Keel.
Yes. Thank you, Chief. And next in the agenda is approval of fire department bills. Chief.
Good morning, everyone. As per normal, you'll see 2 sets of bills, one approved by Commissioner Penker on November 29th, and the second approved by Commissioner Meek on December 13th. On the second set of bills on page 7H, you'll see an expenditure for $27,976 to Denny's Fire Control. This is for our SCBA bottle issue that will be explained in full detail on item 12 of the agenda. The rest of the bills, I really didn't feel anything was remarkable. I'll answer any questions. If none, I would ask for your approval.
Motion to approve. Thank you. Thank you. You got those.
Yep.
Questions or comments for the chief on the fire department bills? Getting away with it this month, huh? Sounds good to me.
I'll take the win.
Let's have a roll call so that we can.
Gershman.
Yes.
Pinker. Meek.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Keel.
Yes. Thank you, Chief. That was an easy one. All right, next item on our agenda is Police Department activities, training reports, and correspondence.
Okay, in your packets, there's a list of our activities that we've had. It's filled with a lot of the normal that we've been having the last few months with trainings, community involvement, and meetings. I didn't see anything that was that needed further explanation other than what's written, unless there's any questions. I would ask that they be placed on file.
Accepted and placed on file. Any comments or questions to the chief about all of the activities in the department? Hearing none, we don't need a roll call here. Do we need a motion? Yeah, we need a motion. We don't need a motion. We're going to accept and place on file. And thank you for maintaining such a high rate of activity. Approval of the request to begin the hiring process for a police officer and a record specialist. Let me make a comment so that all of the commissioners are sort of in the place I am and people who might be watching. There was a request to the city for 3 firefighters and a police officer and a record specialist to be in the 2024 budget, and it was approved that way. And then, bad fortune reared its ugly head, and suddenly the city had an obligation of $300 and some thousand that was unanticipated, and it was a matter of not that the people weren't paying attention, it's the rules changed and all of a sudden there you were. And so at the last Common Council meeting, I think it was the last one, the council decided to go forward with the police department position and to go forward with 1 firefighter and to postpone firefighter 2 and 3 until later in the year when there was a better sense of what the city's position would be and what its income would be. Based on the conversations I've had, and they've been I've had only a few in short, I think there is council support for the 2 fire positions. It's just that there is concern at the moment that they don't want to commit dollars that they're not going to have, not going to be available, and that's where we're at. So you want to share with us what steps you're taking for the 2 positions in the police?
Just to continue with what Commissioner Keel was explaining is that we, if you remember for the budget this year when we had some shortfalls, we withheld filling 2 retirements, one on the law enforcement side and one a record specialist. We've been working short since then. We did have in the budget this year, and as Commissioner Keel said, was approved, that we can move forward with hiring with an asterisk that we wait until we onboard in May for the law enforcement position. The record specialist position we can move forward with now because it wouldn't be, there's no way we'd hire before the first of the year, obviously. The length of time it takes to onboard a law enforcement officer is 4 to 6 months. So I think if we can start the process now, we'll be in good shape in May to move forward with actually hiring somebody and getting them on the force. So I would ask that the commission approve me to move forward with this and approach the finance, budget, personnel, ultimately the common council, and then to start the process so that we can launch it probably real close to the first of the year. We can start advertising that we're hiring.
Is that a detective position?
Right now, the detective position is what's open.
Right.
And we did that strategically to avoid overtime and things. What we would do is onboard and train, and then when the new officer is ready to go on their own, promote the detective position. So we would leave that vacant until we get the new person up and running.
So let me just ask one follow-up to that. Have you noticed any change in clearance rate since we've been missing a detective position? I'm just
Yeah, I don't think the clearance rate has changed too much, but the lift for the other detectives is a little bit much. So we have a little bit slower response times, and we're using our SROs more often than what we should. Especially now with the school board pitching in for the cost of one SRO, we'd really like to free them up. They've been taking a lot of the extra lift for that missing detective position. So I would like to move forward when it's when we're able to avoid the overtime for having short patrol. Rather than promote from patrol now, I'd like to, once we get this new person on board, to fill that position.
So is that a general detective position?
Yeah. Yes.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Second.
We have a motion and we have a second to approve the chief moving forward with these two positions going through the required steps. Any additional questions or comments? Hearing none, and because it has to do with money, I bet I'm supposed to, I have a roll call.
Gershman?
Yes.
Pinker? Meek?
Yes.
Hanson?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. And I hope my description of the situation with the city and the budget was accurate enough.
Except it was actually 2 meetings ago, because we had a meeting Tuesday.
Oh, Mark.
Just to clarify, because if somebody's listening, they will know for sure. Thank you.
We're all participants in city affairs in one way or another. And the fact of the matter is that it is a very difficult time financially for the city of Marshfield. That doesn't reduce our responsibility as a commission to make clear to the city council what the needs are of the fire department and the police department. And the time I've been on the commission, I have to say the city has been responsive. I mean, it's not that they don't want to do the right thing, it's that sometimes they can't. So anyway, I just want to make my thoughts about that clear. Next item on our agenda, fire department activities, training reports, and correspondence.
Thank you. In your packet, you'll see our activities. Another busy month with 292 calls, averaging about 10 a day. Concurrent calls in November were at about 22%. That was down about a point. Other things that would be of importance that are in our activities, update on our engine 4 replacement. Just going back on June 15th of 2020, of this year of 2023, then Chief Floody sent the commission a memo outlining the process for writing the specifications for engine 4. The committee did a great job and the specs were written, sent out for bid with a deadline of December 4th. Fire Apparatus and Equipment Incorporated from Appleton, Wisconsin is a manufacturer that sent back a proposal within specs. We will be working with finance to work through the steps coming forward in that process. Entertain any questions?
Questions, please.
Bill, I think, yes.
Okay, just a comment and then a question. Okay. I'll let Jody read the questions, or the comments, so I can go through the question.
I have spoken with the job shadow study, and she said the fire department shadow is viewed highly by the participants. The most fun. So that's good to hear. The comment that I would make is I'm super proud of our people that are working here. They are open to the students coming in and they know how important it is. Nobody on this department wants good coworkers than the people working here. And they know that when we have students come in, this is a big way to show these students that if they want to get a job, what we're about and how we work together as a team and the culture that we have here. So they know that they want to put their best foot forward so that shortly we can recruit the people that are going through school to want to be part of this team. So thank you for that. And this has a lot to do with the people that work here. they're excellent. I wouldn't change a thing. So thank you for noting that.
Question, again, who was bid on the apparatus?
This was basically Pierce. Was it? I think they're under the guise of Fire Apparatus Incorporated, or Fire Apparatus and Equipment Incorporated.
And we spec'd it with them.
That was the only,
Yes.
That was the only bid.
That was the only one that was returned, yes.
How many other companies were approached?
I believe it was a total of 6.
They didn't return anything, no comment that our manufacturers are full or anything like that.
Deputy Chief Eric or Jonas did receive some feedback. I did get I received a phone call also, and it ranged from a bunch of different concerns that they had. It wasn't one specific one. Right now, fire apparatus are they're estimating up to 48 months out by the time you spec them.
Wow.
So some of these companies are have different, their business plans are changing. That's the best way I could say it.
We didn't visit with Rosenblatt again. Minnesota. That was not one of
I don't believe so.
Yeah.
I don't believe so. I just want to make sure I give you accurate information. I didn't recall that one being on the list, no.
Do you have a bias there or something? Anyway.
We learn that. That'd be the best way to say it. As many of us do, I was putzing around on the computer and looking at fire apparatus companies, and at least one of them, I think it was in Florida, said they really don't want any new orders because they don't see the end of trying to fill the ones they have.
We need to get in line.
Yeah.
Yep, and on a different note, in talking to Deputy Chief Bacus, ambulances are just that way too. They're actually, some of the manufacturer that we were working with has stopped taking orders. So, because things are out so far that, like right now with 48 months, trying to get a contract on a price can be a tough liability for a business. So some of them, they just don't want to take orders. And I'm not saying that's specifically what's happened with each one. That would be an overreach, but that is happening in the industry.
I think there's an entrepreneurial opportunity. Go into the fire truck building business and you get orders from somebody.
Before I end, the next item is that request for budget resolution. Could I please?
We'll hold off until.
I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's no problem. SCBA cylinder request. What is that? Requalification update. I gotta bring both pairs of glasses.
Thank you. In your packet, you have another memo regarding our SCBA bottles that includes the background, our analysis, options, and recommendations we came up with for solving the issue. Deputy Chief Mueller worked hard on this project and did a lot of very good work. I also want to acknowledge Jennifer Selensky, the finance director, for spending about 2.5 hours with me in her office the day before Thanksgiving, trying to find a solution to fund this project. And then I'll pass it over to Everett for a little bit of a background and any questions.
Good morning. This was kind of a unique situation, not just to our department, but when we bought all of the SCBAs and SCBA cylinders, they came on a grant. When they come on a grant, that's one big expenditure that's done through whatever grant we got at that time. We did not put a replacement policy in place, just due to the fact that we had all new cylinders. When we finally went to a different company, we were working with a company in town, and they wanted us to change our process as to how we requalified our cylinders. They wanted us to take the cylinder tops off and then set them in that way. We were really interested in separating those cylinders because we feel there's some validation to having the whole unit come back to us versus being sent out. So we looked at different vendors that would be out there, and we found another vendor that came in, did a qualification of the current cylinders that we had at that time, which is about 10 cylinders, but started looking through our arsenal of different cylinders that we had and found that they had dates of 2009. There's a 15-year DOT policy that's out there, basically done by DOT special permit, and it's a Luxford permit. What that basically details is there's a 15-year lifespan on these. They have to be requalified every 5 years, and what they do is they pump water into them, make sure the cylinder is taken care of, and make sure that it's going to hold pressure for a certain period of time. Once it gets past that 15-year, you're supposed to take them out of circulation, and we're supposed to replace them. The unfortunate part is we had about 74 cylinders that need to be replaced next year. We were looking at different methods, and if we were to outright buy all of those cylinders at one time, it came out to $112,500. That's a bigger hit in the budget than what we could really sustain. So we started looking at some different options that were out there, and there's one that's out of Centennial, Colorado. It's called Digital Wave. And they went and they actually worked for the U.S. Navy and came up with a solution to this problem for different ones. They wrote their own DOT special permit, and under that special permit, they can go up to 30 years on a cylinder. So that 30-year lifespan, you still have to requalify every 5 years, and it's about $400 per cylinder to have it requalified. That really cut our liability in half, or about a third. We went down to about $31,500. So we're a little bit less. I think it actually came in a little bit better pricing than what we had originally thought of, so that's a good thing.
About 27.9.
27.9. So that brought our price down in our liability for the fire department. That's something we can sustain out of this year's budget. So we decided to send all of the cylinders in this year and get those requalified. The idea now moving forward is we're going to put a plan together so that we can buy about 7 to 8 cylinders a year for the next 15 years, which should bring us back to a replacement cycle on the cylinders. So we believe that's sustainable. I think that's adding $10,500 to the budget next year, but I think that's something we can definitely meet and have a good policy moving forward. So that's basically the premise behind it. We're working with a new vendor to get all that stuff taken care of. They came up here from Illinois, grabbed the cylinders, and then they shipped them out to Centennial, Colorado. So we're hoping to have that first shipment back, and we'll be sending the second shipment real soon.
So just a couple of comments. This is probably the most comprehensive review of a change in policy I've ever seen. So it's really, really well written in terms of looking at all the options. I just got one follow-up question for you. Was this a fairly new DOT requirement, or did it hit you by surprise? I'm not trying to be critical. I'm just curious on the background of.
No, it caught us by surprise, but
Okay.
due to our current vendor, the brand vendor we were using, there was no indication that was going to happen.
Okay.
And this had really been kind of cycled through at different levels of the department of people that handled this. So I don't know that 15-year mark was really caught. It appears that this is an older one, and it was one that we had oversight on. Just didn't have to hone in on what.
Yeah, I was just curious how it came about. It's good that you found the issue.
Yeah, and there's plenty of departments. In fact, talking to the different vendors that are out there, there's a lot of departments that run up against this because of that grant, where they purchased everything at one time, and then they run up against that 15-year. So your idea is either you're getting another grant and you're replacing everything at once, or you're indicating that year one you're going to start buying 7 to 8 cylinders and start that recycle process way ahead of time so you can cycle those out. So I guess that was something we had a little bit of, misfortune as far as not catching sooner, but we've caught it now. We found a company that can actually take care of what we're looking for.
And you're going to fix the problem.
Yeah.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second. Any additional questions?
I believe there is one. DOT RAM recertification identification number, page 12A.
Sure. So I think what he's saying is that right here.
Yes, that actually gets into the DOT IRN. That's their qualification number. So they have to go through a certain training. They're talking about the DOT specialist. They would have to get that DOT IRN number, meaning that they have the training and the qualification to actually recertify or requalify a bottle.
So the next question is, who handles refill of bottles at a major incident? fire department or Mavis unit.
Two factors on that one. We do that in-house. We have one unit on squad 1 that can refill cylinders. And then there's also, we kind of met through our Mavis. They have a refill unit where they can bring a trailer here that's got all the, they got a cascade system aboard that, and we can refill from that.
Yep. And we've also invested in some quick fill connections that we have placed on that trailer so that it can make it easier for us to use their unit if we call them in.
Quick curiosity question. Did you find anyone who leases those bottles?
No, typically in the field, there really is no lease on them. You either purchase them or don't purchase them. Kind of a unique thing we came across, if you buy the same cylinder and take it over to Europe, that's a lifetime cylinder. But when you get to the United States, when they originally came up with this qualification, the DOT looked at this as a new cylinder, and they said, no, we're going to put a 15-year lifespan on it. We'll check after 15 years and see, but they've never actually re-identified a different date on that cylinder. So like I said, it was new technology at that time, and they didn't know how to look at it, so they put the 15-year set on it.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to do something, don't we? What is your motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Yes, go ahead.
And Bill seconded it, I think.
Okay. So the motion is to approve moving forward with the process you've developed to recertify the bottles. Is that it?
That's right.
Is that right, Randy? Or-
Yeah, I'm not sure if we need a motion on it or not, but it's not gonna.
Well, no, it won't hurt.
Yeah.
And if I got the motion right, do we need a roll call on that, do you think?
Yes.
Doesn't
Involves
matter.
money.
So it should essentially be a motion.
All right, do a roll.
Gershman?
Yes.
Pinker? Meek?
Yes.
Hanson?
Yes.
Keo?
Yes. And then Chief Jody.
Yes.
Oh, well, anyway, military leave is updated firefighter Anthony Halloran.
Thank you. On August 19th of 2021, firefighter paramedic Anthony Halloran was placed on military leave to serve in the United States Army. He was selected to receive training in the Special Forces Qualification Course, which is, I might note, very tough to get into, very prestigious, and we're very proud of him. Recently notified the city of Marshfield that he'd be returning in January of 2024. Working with my office and the city human resources department, he'll be returning to the department on January 3rd. As per the USERA law, he'll be returning to the department. He'll be assigned to the blue shift, and we welcome him back. I wanted to give you the update.
Outstanding.
Well done.
Yeah, that's a long time. And, you know, regardless of what the law says, holding a position open for someone for that length of time is a commitment and a sacrifice. And he's made a sacrifice, so I think we all appreciate him and what he's done.
Yeah, and the nice thing is I've had some, he's been in my office, we talked, and I believe this transition is going to be pretty simple because he's actually been doing some paramedic schooling through this class. And it's just going to be basically him getting to know the new staff that's here, and you have some, and some of our department getting to know him again, and some policies, procedures, and then just, he's competent, obviously, very competent. Now we just need to get him comfortable so he can continue to be excellent. So.
Yes, and we can hope that they don't need to come back.
That'll be in our prayers, yes.
All right, well, thank you. And when he gets here, bring him to a meeting so we can all meet him.
Yeah.
Very good.
Review and approve 2024 Fire and Police Commission Finance Review Schedule, Financial Review Schedule. That's all of the names and dates that are on the back. And that most of us don't pay a lot of attention to. We wait for someone to it's our time. But
Motion to approve.
all right, second. All right, we have a motion, second. Any comments or questions? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. That brings us back to, and it may well be that if,
We can roll with it.
yeah, that we go forward, and
Let's
if
do
he
it.
gets here, fine, and if he doesn't, we know.
Yep, and I can kind of explain what the, I spent plenty of time up in finance discussing this, so I'll try to give it the easy speak on that part. I think I can address it.
Chat GPT.
Yeah, let's move forward. I'm gonna have a 2-hour talk about gas speed rules. No, I won't. You see in your packets a memo regarding the incident.
I don't know them that well.
No. Memo regarding the incident on September 18th where we had damage to occur to the door on the Apparatus Bay. In the budget resolution, we are asking to be approved. Deputy Chief Mueller worked closely with the insurance company and the door company. I will turn it obviously over to him and then to explain it, and then I'll try to explain the budget resolution. I read that.
Thank you. This is a very unfortunate incident for the fire department that happened on September 18, 2023 during fire response. We had a standby firefighter that was in. He was in overtime. They ended up having, he was in the EMS. He had come back from EMS call and then was resituated to go down a fire call. So he was, got into the ambulance, and unfortunately, there was some situation that happened where things got tangled up, and he ended up proceeding forward without the door actually being fully open. That led to the door having some damage done to it, or actually extensive damage done to it. That's about $70,000 worth of damage. We've got a $5,000 liability. That's our deductible portion of that. So that being said, I think there's 3 things that actually fall into this, and that'd be, as far as the firefighter goes, he was in on an overtime shift, and that leads to added stress and continued problems that we would see with that when you come to a fire response and responding to an incident such as that. So some of the steps got out of place. The equipment malfunction, which has led to us digging in a little bit deeper and trying to put in some kind of contract so we can do added maintenance on these doors. So that's one thing. We're working with the Door Engineering Systems, Door Solutions, which is the other door company that we're putting that door in, and also Merriwood. We've had some good opportunity to actually create relationships there so that if we have problems in the future, we can get things fixed on an easier balance. We've always had a difficult time with these bigger doors. And getting those things taken care of. But I think in this particular situation, we had a little bit of an equipment malfunction where the door opener wasn't necessarily responding with the door, and it didn't open the way it was supposed to. And I think the third thing that we could probably fall back into, and we're very highly appreciative, I want to put that out first and foremost, that we're getting our 1 firefighter. But on top of that, I think we still need to strive to get the other 2 firefighters. I think in this particular case, this was an overtime situation that maybe been alleviated had we not had to call in for overtime. So again, we're back to that 22% where we've got recurring calls. And we're continuing to see that where we're calling people in more and more. We'd like to definitely curb that, and I think continuing to work towards the 2 firefighters. And we originally had an additional 6 firefighters. I think over the years we need to continue moving down that road. That being said, there is a budget resolution that's in front of you in your packets, and that budget resolution is. There's a budget resolution and there's an addendum. We had some changes in the mid-stride. There's actually multiple changes. We were able to wrap it up into just the addendum. But originally it started out at $32,250 and we amended that to say $35,000 is what the budget resolution is. That's a partial payment from the insurance company. That partial payment came in and that money needs to go to Merriwood Construction so that they can order the door and start to actually proceed forward on this project. So that's why we're asking for this budget resolution to ensure that it's moved forward, and then we'll take it to the finance, budget, personnel, and also the common council for a continued resolution.
And so this is really a request to take money from the insurance company, provide it to the vendor, so that they can begin reconstructing or fixing or whatever it is, right?
Right, that would be to place the door on order right now.
Okay.
So
$70,000 for that door?
unfortunately, with the door and the door controllers, the controller that's there now does not function any longer. It wouldn't be a functional, with the new system and the new door coming in with the new controls on it, it would not be a functional controller. So unfortunately, they had to replace the entire open